Hi, this is the LayerMask assignment, and I'm going to actually tell you it's a follow-up on the first assignment, all based on paths. And in paths, I'm hitting the P key, it's definitely understanding all the properties of your path right up here: combine, subtract, intersect, and exclude. Your job is going to be to redraw all of these paths, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay? So don't panic. It's really good practice, and that's what I want you to get good at doing in this second exercise. And if you're already good at it, fine, then just show me. But I'm going to walk you through this, and hopefully it's not going to take too long. But here is the reason why you're drawing all these paths. Your job is to take this car, and I've already done a tiny bit of retouching on it. I want you to see what I've done. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in to the back area. This car came from the client like this. This car came with the red glow from the taillights out into the sheet metal area. I retouched that out. Do you see how I took that and I retouched it out so it looks like the lights are on but there's no glow there yet? Okay, I'm going to re-add that glow in at the end of this. I'll show you that in a minute. I'll show you that I'm going to leave this edited version on and the white layer and turn off the bottom layer that was the original client layer. So now the reason I'm doing all this is because, again, it's a follow-up on the path exercise. So that's what I'm going to show you first. So I'm going to turn off this car, and I'm going to actually, I'll leave it on, but I'm going to turn down the opacity so you barely see the car. Now I want to turn on the paths for this car, and let me turn down the opacity even more so we can just barely see the car underneath. You're going to draw all these paths. What are they intended to do? They're intended to isolate the sheet metal only, not the glass, not the door handles, not the tail lights, not the license plate, not the logo, not the mirrors. The mirrors, not the body of the body holding the mirror. Just the sheet metal. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back up. That's the intention, because what the client wants to do, and I'm going to click away from these paths right here, okay? What the client wants to do is they want to take it and to be able to alter the color of this car, but not have to reshoot it, rephotograph it. Now, this is what I've done. So I'm going to drop off the bottom layer that I'm turning off and on so I can see the white layer. Do you see the white layer? Good. I used this path to create this mask. Now I'm going to Option or Alt click on the mask so you can see it. It's simply making a path out of this, a selection out of this, and then adding it to the car layer. You're going to see me do it. It's really simple. Okay, and then you're going to do it. All right, that's cool. You're not allowed to just take this whole folder and duplicate it and call it a day. That wouldn't get you anywhere. It wouldn't get me anywhere. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm leaving it on. Now, what I did with this originally was I had the regular, I have to click away from this path. I had the regular car. Now I'm going to turn it on. I isolated the sheet metal by drawing that path and using it as a mask right there that you can see that I'm clicking on right there. Okay. Then I added just a big old layer of blue. Now, if that blue hadn't been clipped to this layer, it'd just be all over the place. Okay. Meaning if I had it just here, it would be everywhere. Okay. But I clipped it to that mask for a specific purpose. So let me turn this off and turn this back on. So I'm going to reclip it. Now I added an adjustment layer to the blue. See, I can't adjust gray because gray won't adjust to any color. So I had to add a color. I had to add this blue. This blue. It didn't matter that I added blue. I could have added almost any color. But then I added an adjustment layer. Now I'm going to double click the adjustment layer, and I'm going to bring the properties menu over. I know you haven't started this assignment yet, but you have to know why you're doing things, right? I'm going to put the swatches palette on the other screen. So watch me take the hue and just alter it. I can alter this car to any color. Now, if I leave the properties on and I go like this, it wouldn't take much for me to actually fix that. All I have to do is, and you're going to do this, hold Option or Alt and clip the adjustment layer to the sheet metal. See these two arrows right there? That means that both of these layers are clipped to this layer right there. And that's important. Okay, that's very cool. Now that's why I clipped this and this. Now watch. I can re-slide this adjustment right here. I can re-slide it, and there's your car color change to any color I really want. Now the client can shoot this car for catalog shots, for television, for anything, and they have exactly what they need to have without having to reshoot the car. And it was all done from one file. So let me just put it back on red. I don't even remember. Oh, yes, I do. The red was plus 126. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. So let me put in here just a positive 126. Okay, that's the color that I chose. You can choose a different color, but at least I want you to see what I did. Now, I'm not going to explain this top one here. I'm going to turn off the adjustment layer so you can see something. I'm not going to explain it till I turn off the top layer. I added a teensy weensy bit of the red glow, and I'm going to turn all this off so you can see what I've added. I just took the red glow, I swiped it off of this unedited layer, and I'll have you do the same thing. It's why I included it in here. So there is the reason, let me turn this off, that you're doing this file. You are showing me how you can draw with a pen. We're then going to apply all of these separate paths to this main path. I don't want you drawing on the same path. I want you drawing everything separately, which is how you're going to be graded. Hopefully this is all showing up on screen. Let me move it over slightly. So I drew the outer sheet metal, then I drew the brake, the rear brake light, then I drew the windows, the tail lights, and I'm going to show you those kind of in order. I'm not going to draw everything for you, but I am going to walk you through the drawing process again, just to give you a little indication of what it is I expect. Okay, so let me turn off Brian's folder right there, and let's go back to the regular car. I'm leaving the white layer on so that I can kind of just take down the opacity again. So this is what your first job is to do. Your first job is to make sure nothing is selected over here in the path palette. Nothing. Because if you had something selected and you took the pen and you started drawing, you draw right on that path, right? So I want you to select away from it. Now another way to select away is hold Command or Control on a PC, Command on a Mac, and just click it. Because if you have so many paths that you can't get to the bottom of the path palette, just it's on, then Command off or Control off. Okay, cool. Now save as to your name. So immediately go to Save As and put in your name. So I'm just going to say that this is LayerMask Adjustment Layer Clipping Mask, and I'll just put in here Brian Demo. Thank you for your patience. Now let's get down to it. So when I drew the sheet metal layer, it's what I want you to do. Now I'm going to have to turn up the opacity so you can see this really well. Okay, so I'm going to take the opacity and go like this. Now I'm very glad that Photoshop made the paths blue because I want to start working this out. So I'm going to double click this, and what I expect is when I hit Command C, I'm actually going to make a new path right there, brand new path, and I'm going to double click it and I'm going to put in your name. So you would say your name sheet metal. Just your first name is fine. Okay, and then everything else will have your name. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down to this outer taillight shape thing right here. You're going to have all of those down lower in the right order. So let's now start. When you draw, I want you to see that, of course, this is pixelated. So I want you to try to draw to the center of the final where the pixels actually become into the dark area. Okay, I don't want you to get any of the dark area. I want you to go grab all of the sheet metal. Now that bottom is not sheet metal. That bottom is part of the molding on the car. So you can see what I drew right there. If you're confused, just go back. Now I'll rejoin back in this path just by taking the pen tool, and you can see how I can just go right back in here and join back in the path. Now the way to draw is to look at the curve you're drawing. Click, hold, and pull all around the curve. Now I'm going to release myself from this path again right now by clicking my upper path, because I want you to see how many points I put in the path. Now I'm zooming out because I want to take in the pen holding the Command or Control key. I want to marquee all of this, and I want to zoom in and show you that I used the minimal amount of points around here. There's not 100 points between here and here. There's only 4. So the minimal amount of geometry, look at how many points I have from this right here. I'm going to click on it right there. Look at how many points I have from here to here. The answer is just 2. And you do it by manipulating the handlebars. If you need 3, fine, but don't put more than 3. Okay? Now that's not a warning. It's to accumulate, and it's to execute the best geometry possible. Let's go back to the sheet metal layer that I was drawing. Now I'm not going to draw the whole thing. I'm going to give you an indication of how simple drawing is. Now watch how I can go to the center of that curve and slightly pull in the direction of the curve. I can come up here where it flattens out. Wouldn't matter where, but I can click, hold, and pull in that direction. Now, if I didn't get that in the right place, if it should have got up higher, hold Command or Control, grab the point, inch it up. Please make sure under View that your snap is off. No snap on. Make sure snap is off. And also, in the pen, as you're drawing, please make sure that nothing is showing up here as a vector shape. Please make sure, and I should have said this when I grabbed the pen, that your pen and the control palette up here is on path, not shape. Again, path, not shape. Always path, never shape. Thank you. So if you have to start over, fine. Start over, put it on path, and let's keep on going. Now, I'm going to hit the Tab key so I can have the whole palette to myself. Okay, now look at how I can actually hold the Command key and drag that over here. Now I'm going to back out a little bit, and I'm going to see that that's a long straightaway. Okay, long. So I can go way over here. Now watch how I can actually take this handlebar right here. See it? Right there? Whoops. Let me Z back. Take that handlebar and pull it down and keep it going down. Now I might need to add one more point to this, so watch what Photoshop lets you do. I'm going to add one more point right there, hold Command or Control, and zoom it down. Now let's zoom in, middle mouse button, look at where my pen is, middle mouse button, hold Option or Alt, middle mouse button, and zoom in, and then use the space bar for your hand. You're going to have to get good at this, so I want you to take the time to get good. Now watch me join back in this path. I'm just going to join back in and pull. Now I come around here and I pull. Now look what I can do. I can actually come back in here with my pen and pull out a new shorter handlebar. Did you see that? See how cool that was? Now I can come down here and pull. Now to change direction, let me move it over just slightly. To change direction and come down where the tread is, do you see the outer part that's hard to see? Well, welcome to the world of retouching. Okay. I'm going to hold Alt or Option and change the direction of the handlebar. Let me Command Z back. Watch. If I simply go down here, do you see how it loops like this? Well, I don't want that to loop, so I'm going to Command Z back. If I hold Alt or Option, I can pull in the direction that I want. Whoops, I made a mistake there. Let me see where I am. Okay. I can hold Alt or Option and pull that handlebar straight down. Now that's not the line, that's the handlebar, and just click right down here. Now I'm going to pull a handlebar out, and I'm going to keep on going all the way around this. Do you see how if I pull in the direction of this path, see how nicely it allows me? Sometimes you have to back off a little bit to get a good view of where the sheet metal is, because it's kind of matching the ground. Just do the best you can. I'm not going to grade you on your perfect pen line. I'm just going to grade you on if you had a reasonable amount of points. Now you see how that handlebar might be a little long? I'm going to hold the command key and just make it shorter because I want to turn the corner here. And now you see how I pulled in the direction the car is going? Now let's do it again. Let's pull in the direction the car is going. Let's back off and see if I go way over here. Look how I can pull in the direction that the car had been going. See this line? Now if I hold the command or control key, I can grab, you can see the path pretty well, and I'm going to now grab this handlebar and you can see what I've done. See how that path flows right along the geometry of that? Now your job is to let me see what I did before. Let me hit the tab key. Yeah, your job is to follow the outer path of this car. Now I'm going to pick this up, hold the command key, Brian, by holding command down so I get the path selection tool and just move it over. Now I want to change direction. I don't want this handlebar going in that direction. So I hold Alt or Option and I pull a new handlebar out and leave it about right there. Now all I have to do is come up and pull in the direction of the car. Click and pull in the direction of the car. Click and pull in the direction of this car. Now look, click over here and pull in the direction that was the car. Now it changes direction right there. Do you see how it changes direction? So what do? I hold Option and I can go in the point and replace, or Alt on a PC, and replace the handlebar to go along to the new geometry. Now that's a handlebar, it's not the line. So I can continue to pull. See how easy this can be? And don't worry if you make a mistake. All right, you can always Command Z back and do it again. Look, I'm going to click and pull. Now, see how I can make the line go up or down? Great. Now that point isn't in the exact right place. Well, it kind of is. I don't want this handlebar that I'm actually clicking on right there. So I'm going to click. I'm going to look at, I even lost the handlebar. I'm going to click and show you the handlebar. And I'll move this down. Do you see that handlebar that's right here? Let me take and lower the opacity of this. Now I'm not gonna, and you can still see where I have to go because I wouldn't normally probably lower the opacity, but I just wanted to do it for your visual. So I hold Alt or Option, I can pull in the direction that the new one is going, and I see that I do have to click this point and move it slightly back. Okay, that point should go slightly back this way. Now, let's raise the opacity up a little bit so I can see, and now let's go around the front of this car. So you can see how quickly I can actually click, hold, and pull. Click, hold, and pull. Go over here, click, hold, and pull. Now that's reasonable geometry, wouldn't you say? Now I've gone around a lot of this car. I want it to change direction on purpose. Right here, I'm going to have to change direction. But first, I'm going to have to pick it up and put it over here, and now hold the Option or Alt key, replace the handlebar in the new geometry direction, and just keep on going. Click, hold, and pull. Click, hold, and pull. Click, hold, and pull. And by the time you're done all of this, look, I have to change direction right there. See how easy that was? Now, how do I change direction? Hold Alt or Option, pull a new handlebar in the direction of the line. Don't pull it too far. And let's now just continue on by click, hold, and pull. If you lose track of the path and you click away from it, just click on it, put your pen in the last point, and just redo the handlebar. And now you're back flowing in the right direction. Now that's not really a change of direction that's a sharp one, that's a pretty subtle one. Now look at how I'm coming around this whole fender. Look at how I'm pulling. Look at how I'm pulling. Let's come out here, Brian, like this. Let's come down like this. Let's now come straight down to where the lamp is. We'll remove the lamp. Did I remove that lamp? No. You have to pull around the whole sheet metal of the car. Now, I went way into the tire, didn't I? So I come back up. How do I change direction and go this way? You hold Option, you go back in the point and put a little handlebar in there. Now look, I put that nice line right in here like this. Now I can hold Option or Alt, pull in a new direction and get a handlebar ready for that curve. Notice how I left it on the fat part of the curve, not the inside of the curve. So now let's go around this. Let's skip this whole area and go all the way to here. Now look at how I can edit before I even finish. I can actually hold the Command or Control key, pick this one up, now go over here and pick this one up. Now I've been very patient on going around this whole thing on purpose because I think that you need to see how a path can be formed. Now every other path is the same thing. So all you're going to have to do, I might as well finish here, all you're going to have to do is see the paths that I made. Let me zoom in and see if I put that in the right place. Nope, it should go right there. Now let me go all the way down to here and click, hold, and pull. Okay, see how I've aligned that real nice. Look at my handlebar, it's kind of nice and ready. Let's see if I'm too far away from the car. I have to hold the Command key and move that point back in. Now let's go over here and click, hold, and pull, but now you can see how I've got the geometry correct, but I obviously have to change direction. So I'm going to hold Option or Alt and change direction. Let's see what I have to do. Okay, I have to go right up to here because that's where the start of the wheel well is. And let's go around this. Look at how I'm pulling a new handlebar with Alt or Option. I'm going to go way up here and pull in this direction. See how nicely I did that? See how there's only 2 points between here and here? Now, this handlebar is way too long. So hold the Command key and pull and just release the handlebar. Just make it shorter is what I'm trying to say. Now, I can go over to here and look at how nicely I match that. Now, I think I can skip this whole thing all the way down to here. Now watch how I can get this geometry to flow. I didn't need any more points than what I believe is the correct thing, and look at how I've got that whole thing formed really nice with only that amount of points. Now that handlebar is too long, and I should have put that one in just a little bit. Now that I put it in a little bit, I missed my sheet metal. So I need to come over. You know what? That's going to have to move up a little bit. And this is going to have to go like this. So I'm not embarrassed to say that I need to edit some things sometimes. And let's go. Nothing is perfect the first time. So now let's finish this path. All right. I'm going to go back in this path and pull. I'm going to make sure that this is left in the right area right there. I'm going to hold Option or Alt. Look at how I can go in this path right now, and if I hold Option or Alt, do you see how I'm not hurting the path I already had there? Now I'm going to Command Z back. Watch if I don't hold Alt or Option. Watch how it messes up that path right there. See how now by me moving this one's moving? Let me Command Z back. If I hold Alt or Option, I can join in the last point, and it doesn't let me hurt my geometry of the last point. And there is a pretty decent path all the way around the car. Now your job, as I move the opacity back so we can barely see this car, is to click away. All right. Look at the next one. The next one says, and you can hardly see the name, but look where it is. Do you see how it's surrounding this rear brake light? Let me put the opacity back up so you can see that I just simply drew it around this whole tail light. I'll zoom in, but you can zoom in. Now, that's what I want you to do. So click away, click back. You can grab the name if you want to just by going like this and drag across. Look, Command C. Let's go in this new path and put in your name. Sorry. Command V. Now I have your name, rear center brake light. Now all you have to do is zoom in and start drawing. So what you want to do is make sure you get all the sheet metal. So make sure that you're just to the edge of that. Now do you see how I held, and I click, I called it click, hold, and pull. Okay, so let me start over. Remember when you're drawing, you can click, pull, in the same direction. Then the next one is click, hold, and pull. Then the next one is click, hold, and pull in the same direction, and you pretty much have the curve really pretty. Okay, now that I have that, you're going to have all of your paths. I'm going to throw away the two that were there. So now I'm throwing those away because I already got it up here. Now remember I said with the pen you have to be on path. Okay, so what you have to do now is take this one right there. So we're going to make a combined one again. So take this one right there and duplicate it. Now call it combined. Now here's the process. Let me zoom out. I'm going to lower the opacity on the card to where you can hardly even see it. Okay. Click on the second one. You can stay this distance away. Okay. Now, make sure that this combined one is selected when you're ready to paste, but let me finish my point. Click on the first one, which is the next one in line. Take the pen tool, hold Command or Control and marquee. Make sure that that path right there is a correct path. Make sure that it's on exclude. Make sure all of these are on exclude. Okay, we can fix it later though if you mess up. I hit Command C, I click to the combined one, Command V to paste. See how it's in there now? Let's take the windows. So I click to the windows, hold the Command or Control key, make a really big box around the whole window shape, and examine my window shape and you draw the same thing. Okay? Command or Control C. Click to the combined one, Command or Control V. Now keep your eye open. Look here. If this is going in incorrectly, I'm going to duplicate it and show you an incorrect version of it. I'm going to grab the whole thing right here and I'm going to go to the path and combine. Now do you see that path that's down here? I'm going to actually move it up so you see what I'm talking about. What I should do is make a screenshot of it so that you can actually see what it is I'm talking about. Let me hide Photoshop for a second. Let's take this screenshot, which should come up here any second now. And let's open it in preview and let's look at it. Look at how this has white and white. That means if you make a selection of this one right here, it's only going to recognize the outer shape. If you make a selection of this one, the dark stuff gets eliminated. The white stuff is where you fill. So now let's examine that. So let me go back to Photoshop. So I'm going to make a selection of this one. Watch, this is the good one. Boom. See how it's a nice selection and everything is now made into a selection? Do you see that? But now let me click on this one and deselect. Okay, it looks like the same thing, right? But when I make a selection of it, there's no window. There's no tail light. So how do you fix something like that? Well, it's easy. Let's say this is the only one you had. Take your pen tool, hold your Command key, and marquee the whole shape. So it's all got the points showing. Just simply make sure your path is selected, go back up to here and hit exclude, and now look and see how it's all repaired. I can throw this one away though. Now I'm going to pretend, I'm throwing that away, that you've gone through and you've made this, that all of the shapes are correct, that all of the shapes are nicely drawn, that everything is black in the middle. Remember, we're not using this bottom one yet. Do not use this bottom one. Only use the one between here, the sheet metal, and the Brian license plate. Okay, so you have to draw all of those. Then you make a combination of everything. Don't use this bottom one. The one that says outer tail light shapes. That's how I made the little glow. I'm going to show you that later. Now, I'm going to pretend I'm you. I've drawn everything. I've saved my file. Okay, cool. Let me make sure I'm saving the right file. Yes, I'm saving my file. Your job is to duplicate this layer. See how you have two of them now? Well, make sure they're both up at 100% opacity, Mr. Silly. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn this off so you can see something. I'm turning on, you can leave this one on in a minute. Turn yours off. Okay. Select your copy layer. Select the upper one. I'll even name it number 2. Fine. I'm going to make a selection of this by control clicking or command clicking on the icon, not the words, the icon. Make sure all the marquee lines are showing. Just simply with this selected, click the layer mask button. You've now isolated all the sheet metal in a beautiful way. Okay. Now obviously the car underneath has the background to the windows, the taillights, and everything. Cool. Now what you have to do is make a new layer. Just make a new layer. You don't have to clip it yet. Choose a color. I'm going to choose the same blue. I'm going to choose my blue. I would like you to use, if you put in R, I'm going to put in 1. I'm going to tab to 4, and I'm going to tab to 152. Now that's my blue. Okay, so I use that blue. If you want to use it, great. It makes for a great base value. Okay. 14152. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to hit Alt Backspace or Option Delete to fill, just like that. Okay, cool. Now what you have to do is to change the mode. So let's go see in Brian's folder what mode he used. So if you forget, let's see that this new color uses overlay. So that's why I left it in there. So let's close Brian's folder completely, turn off the visibility, select your blue, put it on overlay right there, and clip it. Hold Alt or Option and click way over in the gray area so it clips it right to there. Now, add an adjustment layer for hue and saturation. Now you get your properties. Now, clip your adjustment layer in the same manner. Now, I made mine red, so I'll just leave mine as red. I think I made it 126, which is right there. Now, I'm going to make it a different color for this one so the glow makes sense to you on the back taillights. Okay? Let me just see what color I want to use. So I'll just make this yellow one. I'll make a yellow Corvette. A really ugly banana-y yellow. Okay, that's cool. Okay, let me turn on the bottom Corvette, and there's a yellow. Now, obviously, I need a little red glow right here, and I want you to see how I'm going to do it. I'm going to save the file right now. So I'm going to make another layer above this. I'm going to call it Tail Light Glow. And we're going to make it really simple. We're even going to use Gaussian blur to help make it happen. So what I want you to do is to turn off all the layers. Okay. Now, you know what? I'm not thinking correctly, but that's okay. I want you to turn on the bottom red layer. Now I want you to use that outer tail light shape. I want you to command click it. It's the outer part of the tail light. Now I'm zooming in on this one, but the other ones are the same thing. So if I go over to here, I'll show you that they're the same thing. I'll leave them all on the screen to the best I can. Okay, now you can see. I'm going back up to these tail lights right here, and I'm going to subtract them from this shape. So I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to click on them, and I'm going to show you that I'm actually going to subtract this little circle. I'm going to subtract from the big circle the little circle. So I'm going, if I said that right, I hope I did. So I'm going to go Command Alt or Control Alt or Command Option subtract, and you see how I get this really cool looking shape, which is that back area right there. Now that's really beautiful, but we have to do something else. So I'm going to bring over the channels palette, and I want to see that you actually have the right channel in there. I'm going to have you know what, I have to take that one away from yours because that's the one that you actually have to make. So I'm going to throw it away. All right. So what we want to do is we want to go to Select, Modify, Contract. Now I want to contract it by enough pixels so that it's only a sliver of what this is. So I have 20 pixels in the contraction. Now do you see how, whoops, 20 pixels was too much. Sorry, that must have been for another one. Let's try 10 pixels. And let me see what I get. Nope. This is so much fun. Let's go to contract it 5 pixels. Okay, I'm going to Command Z back because I want to go 4 pixels actually. So let's go select, modify, contract. Let's go only 4 pixels. Hey, sometimes you have to experiment, right? Nothing is perfect. Now I have this really neat looking smaller version of this. Okay, now this is what I want to do. I want to go select, modify, feather. So I'm adding a feather to these things. I'm going to go 2 pixels on the feather. Okay, now this is what I want you to do. I want you to save that selection as tail light. I want that to appear in the channels palette. Now, would you please deselect, Command or Control D to deselect. Now, Brian did a stupid thing, which is all right. I shouldn't have made that upper layer, but I'm glad I did because I now have the name of it. Okay, so I'm going to double click it, hit Command C. You can do that if you want to, but throw it away. Okay. Click to the unedited car layer. See it right down here? Click it. I'll move it over so you can see it. Just make sure it's selected. Now I'm going to show you for a second what this looks like. I'm going to zoom in. So now look at how when I click on the channel, see how it actually has a softness on the edge? That means that any selection that is made from this channel is going to have the softness on the edge, which means it's almost like a built-in Gaussian blur. So let me click back up to the RGB image. I want you to make sure this is selected, make sure that car layer is selected. I want you to Command or Control click on that geometry right there, on that channel, not the geometry. And I want you to hit Command J. Now I'm going to turn off this bottom layer. Do you see how we have a little copy of a red glow? Do you see that? See how pretty that is? Let's double click the name and hit Command V to paste. Okay. Put it all the way up at the top of the folder. Now let's turn on everything in the folder. Let's turn this off for a second. Let's turn on your original car. Let's turn on your masked car. Okay, let me zoom out. Let me get rid of the channel palette now. I'm going to check and see in your channel palette you should have a sheet metal only. Okay, I didn't even tell you that, did I? Oh, I'm so terrible. To get the sheet metal only, I'm so sorry, Command or Control click this path, please. Just go up and save it and call it sheet metal only. All right, and then you'll have one just like mine. Okay, so back, I'll say it again. Command or Control click right there, right there. Make sure you're selected. I'm sorry, just go to Select and Save Selection. It'll come up like this. I'll just type this in and you can see if I had typed in the right thing I would have it right there, but I'm going to throw it away because I don't need 2 of them. Okay, great. So now let's deselect Brian. So you're going to have 2 channels, right? The soft taillights and the sheet metal only. I just want you to have those. Okay, click back up to the RGB image, Brian. Let me close this. We're almost finished with this file. Thank you. So now let me put this on the other screen. So now here is your adjusted car, meaning your clipped sheet metal color blue. Here is your hue and saturation change. I'm making it yellow. And now look what happens when I turn on the red. Now I have a really pretty little red glow. And without it, it wouldn't even look like the taillights were on hardly. So now that looks really cool. And I'm allowed to, if I want to, actually Gaussian blur it under filter, maybe one more pixel. Okay, that might be pretty. And I'm also allowed to remove some opacity from it so that it might not be so strong. Okay, but I don't care what you do in that. I just want you to have it. So you have to have these many layers. Remember, in Brian's folder, let me turn off all yours. In Brian's folder, he should have 1, 2, 3, 4 plus the original one down here. So that makes for a total of 5. Okay, let me close Brian's folder. You have the original one for the number 1, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what I want you to have. So this is a really good exercise in you getting good at the pen. It's a very good exercise for you understanding the difference between combine when none of these showed up. I repeat, when none of these showed up and all we had was this right here, that is not going to work, and you have to know how to fix that. So we went over that, and you might have to watch the movie again to actually understand how to fix that. But I'm going to click away from this. And how do you click away from a path that maybe you can't get to the bottom of the palette on? You hold Command or Control and you click it and it's gone. The visibility of it is gone, not the path. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please move on to the next exercise. The next 3 are going to be very quick but very informative. Thank you.